Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're going to go over our quarterback rankings, probably go over our top 10. And what I'll say, start off the bat, to me, quarterback is kind of the least important ranking because I feel like there's a million of them you can plug and play and no big deal. But I posted my ranks on Instagram over at Instagram.com/fantasyfootballprophet. And man, there's some hate going on there, Jeff. People aren't happy. Now, I'll just say, before we get our top 10, I'll just tell you a couple guys that didn't make my top 10 that people are unhappy about. Maybe let's see if there's any of them made your top 10. So one of them is Dak Prescott. People are very upset with me that he's not up there. Did he make your top 10?
No,
I didn't think so.
No, he didn't make my top 10.
So a lot of people are like, wow, the Dak hate is real.
I don't know if I'd call that hate.
Yeah. So Jameis Winston ahead of Dak Prescott, the blasphemy.
I don't really want to go into a whole thing about Dak.
I just find that funny.
Yeah.
That's one that for some reason people were just not liking that.
I feel like when people make these arguments, they usually have like, I don't know why, QBs are like, you have an affinity for him. Like if that is your guy, if he is the head of your franchise, you love him to death no matter what. And, you know, to his credit, I don't think Dak should be in the top 10, but I do think that he should get some respect. I think we will give it to him, you know, when we're making, you know, the top 20. I think he is a guy that could jump up because they're finally adding some weapons around him. But he's never, you know.
He's been okay.
He has. He's been good.
And the disrespect on Cousins is unreal.
Oh, okay.
He deserves it after what he did to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like Cousins, and I think he will bounce back. But after last year, there's no way he can be in the top 10.
And then somebody asked, does Craig even watch football?
I like that. That's funny.
Is it, though? I mean, come on, man. All right, let's go to our top 10 here. It's, hey, you know, people have their opinions. They're very strong. Quarterback seem to be actually people have the strongest opinions about quarterback, which, like we said, I honestly, though, I feel like this is, but we always thought this. Every year we talk about this. You can wait on quarterback. I feel like you can. And you can wait and still feel very comfortable if you're, you know, getting a quarterback later. I mean, there's options. So some of these people that won't make our list today are going to be good options. So let's go 1 through 10 here and start off with your number 1.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be any risk here or any surprise to anyone. It's going to be Mahomes. And look, I know that the initial thing people will point to is regression because he had such a crazy, you know, year last year. He put up monster numbers. He threw, he had to be close. What, 50 touchdowns? It was something enormous. 50 and with only 12 interceptions. He was dominant. He probably will lose Tyreek Hill. You're not sure if his weapons will be quite as good as they were last year, but he's going to be completely fine. And he put up such good numbers that even if he has that regression, he still will be duking it out for the number 1 spot overall. I mean, there's not a whole lot to downgrade this guy on.
No, and some of it is people are worried about Hill. No Kareem Hunt.
Oh, he did just fine with Damian Williams.
He did, and that's not going to be an issue at all. And yeah, there could be some drop off from his numbers last year, but that still could make him the number 1 quarterback.
Yeah. Now, even if he drops off, say he only throws 10 TDs, which would be a very significant drop off.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Yeah,
that is fine.
One of the comments I received. Interesting that you have no fall off from Mahomes, even though we all know that he will not duplicate last year.
It will prove my point right there. So yeah, I get it. I understand the worry. But yeah, even if I do factor that in, he's still my number 1.
Yeah. I didn't realize he's my number 1 too. So.
I assumed.
Yeah. He's this. He showed so much. Like he showed that he is that good that he still has Travis. Just even Travis Kelce alone would be enough for me to put him up there. That's it. But it's Damian Williams too.
Yeah, and he didn't. watching his games was really amazing because he did not come off like he was a first-year starter by any stretch of the imagination. Even when I thought he was going to have not even a bad game, just an average game, he has the ability to score at any moment. And I truly believe that is just the way he's going to be in the NFL, for years to come, because he's just very cool and collected under pressure. And not a whole lot is going to change in that offense. I mean, yeah, you're going to have some moving pieces, obviously, but you're still going to have a good line. You're still going to have great play calling. You're still going to be using the running backs and the wide receivers and the tight ends all to his benefit. He'll be just fine.
Yeah, he's going to be. And I also have he has my 18th ranked receiver for the year.
Right. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Sammy Watkins.
Well, but that's his first, right? I mean, you can put Kelsey in there as, but it's crazy to think that the guy that is number one QB, his best offensive wide receiver is going to be ranked 18.
Yeah. Unless something happens and Tyreek Hill doesn't somehow get suspended, which we're all just assuming, but I mean, no one really knows, I guess.
That'll be very interesting because if we go the rest of this list, there is maybe there's a couple more guys, but most of them have a top 10 wide receiver with them. He will not this year because of Tyreek.
Majority do. There's maybe two. I think I have two in my top 10 that do not. Yeah. That's it. I think there's two of them that don't.
All right. So I think that was a clear-cut one. That was a no-brainer for me. But I do think that the next tier is, depending how you look at it, 2 to 3 guys. My idea was 2. But which one of them, I'm wondering, do you have coming in at number 2?
It's Rodgers.
Okay. We'll get to it, but I'm pretty sure we flip-flopped. So you don't have to sell anyone on Aaron Rodgers. No. You shouldn't at this point.
No, it's just so I'm going to say last year wasn't a healthy season. He got hurt early and it lingered the entire season. He was injured the entire year and he never fully recovered from it. And even despite that, he finished 6th last year. So his last healthy season in 2016, he was first. He was first in 2014. I think him healthy with Devontae Adams up there, he's going to be with those other rookies, actually, not the second year guys. I think he's going to be great. And people talk about, I've got a lot of comments about Rodgers and how he fell off and he shouldn't be ranked up there anymore.
Fell off.
So this is what fall off means. Is when you throw for 4,442 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Yeah, only 2 interceptions.
That's ridiculous. He just didn't the touchdowns. That's it. It's literally the touchdowns. They weren't quite there. I can see that jumping back up. I think he's going to be perfectly fine. And so I put him 2. Yes, and there's the guy at 3 who is your number 2, Andrew Luck.
Yeah, correct.
And
I do think
I see that. That's fine because Luck has. But okay, this is similar too because I know people are going to be like because Rodgers he made every game, so he wasn't hurt.
Right.
He was hurt, but so people think he's
banged up.
Think he fell off. The same thing is people worried about Andrew Luck coming back from injury. He was perfectly fine.
Yeah, and let's be very honest and. Going into Andrew Luck and why I have him at number 2 because I do have Aaron Rodgers number 3. I really do think that is a tier on its own because I think these guys are very, very close. And the only reason, otherwise I would go Aaron Rodgers. The only reason I went with Luck is twofold. First of all, Aaron Rodgers is older. And yeah, he is a little more banged up. I think he'll play and he'll be fine. And, to make more of your point for Aaron Rodgers, because I think it is so crazy, I say it every year, dating back to 2008, and he was hurt significantly in 2 years that I'll skip over just to let you know. 2013, he only played 9 games, finished 21st. 2017, only played 7 games, finished 29th. If I take those 2 out, those are injuries. This is where he finished in the QB rank. And no joke, this is probably the most impressive run in fantasy ever. Second, first, second, first, second, first, 7th, first, 6th.
Yeah.
7th is the worst he has finished when he's been healthy. That is incredible. And so I do think, because obviously he was a little banged up last year and the year before he was, he only played 7 games. So injury is a little more risky than Luck. I know it sounds crazy to say after Luck coming back from injury. But I think that plus Luck just has so many more weapons. And that's really what it came down to for me. I think Luck's offense is just going in the right direction. Aaron Rodgers has Devontae Adams for sure, and that's about it. After that, I think he has a bunch of decent players that he makes great. But I don't know who's going to step up yet. But if we go down the list of who Luck has, it is obviously he has T.Y. Hilton. You got the new rookie Burner, which is a lovely little thing to, toy to play with. You have Doyle and Ebron, who can do a lot of different things and catch a lot of touchdowns. And then who else do you have? Funchess and Rodgers. And you go down the laundry list and you just have guys that can produce.
Naheem Hines will catch the ball out of the backfield.
Exactly. And even Marlon Mack was good when he was in there. I like Luck a little bit more, but let's not sleep on Aaron Rodgers again. He might still be one of the safest bet in fantasy football.
But Donnie on Instagram asked, why does everyone hype up Luck so much? Because he's finished 4th, 2nd, 4th, and 5th in his last 4 healthy seasons.
Yeah.
It's amazing. He's a guaranteed top 5 guy.
And
he's guaranteed top 5 no matter what.
Exactly. And, he's just really, really good. And that team is moving in the right direction, like I said. His offense really is becoming very good. And they did an excellent job of drafting linemen as well in order to protect him more, which I love.
But almost the bigger question, because these guys, we know they're up here, but are any of them worth drafting early? I don't know.
For me?
Yeah.
I don't like to do it.
I think there's enough guys later. So it means I like these guys and they're my top, but I'm not going to end up with them on my teams, most likely, unless one of them falls, because there are some guys below here that people fall in love with and get drafted higher. And then actually on our next episode, we're going to do a mock draft and test this out and see. Be interesting to see where these quarterbacks really go. So
yeah, and
I just don't. Yeah, their current position, I'm not drafting them.
I think you could make an argument, right? You could make an argument for Mahomes, Luck, Rodgers. You have to take them early, but you do solidify that position.
Mahomes would have been more of an option if we knew Tyreek Hill was there. If that was the case, you'd look at Mahomes and be like, maybe this is the guy you draft early.
Also, this does change it a little bit. I know this is kind of a tweak, but it does come into play with what point you get for touchdowns, right? Yeah. So your league rules do play into this. I'm banking on 6 points per touchdown.
That's what you should be playing.
Yeah. If you do 4, it changes a little bit. I think in that case, Aaron Rodgers might jump over Luck a little bit because he doesn't throw as many interceptions. And I think his touchdowns will go up a little bit. Anyway. But yeah, I don't like to put that kind of draft capital into a quarterback. But, it doesn't – I've seen last year Mahomes won people leagues, won people games for sure by himself. So if you hit on a quarterback, you're wonderful. But I really do think that you can get a safe guy later, and then you can take a risk on someone that can go week to week. Yep. But that's just me personally I like to do.
All right, so who do you put number 4?
Number 4, I have Deshaun Watson.
So do I. Obviously, he was amazing in his rookie year in the shortened season, and people didn't know where to put him. He was getting way hyped. I kind of backed off on it last year, I'll admit, just because I was a little bit worried. You didn't really back off, I don't think.
I did. I hyped him pretty good.
I started to back off. I was a little worried. And at the beginning of the year, I think he wasn't necessarily looking great.
He scared me, I'll be honest.
And he really came around and had a really good season. He was good. He was, for a second-year quarterback, in his first full season, he was really good, 4,100 yards. And, he was a good player. And I don't see that changing. He has what we rank as the number 1 receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. If this is a very big if he has a healthy Will Fuller, this could even be, and then Kiki Cutie as his third. This is really, really good players here, really good receivers to throw to. So, Will Fuller can't stay healthy, though. That's just such a hard thing for him. But he's going to be good again. Then it feels safe to get Watson. It just feels like he's going to put up numbers and be very, very safe. And I don't see... he had 551 rushing yards too, 5 touchdowns rushing. So you're going to get some of that. You're not going to be, Lamar Jackson type, but he's going to get you some. And he'll be pretty good. Just very solid player.
Yeah. And that was everyone's question, right? Because he put up monster numbers his first year. He only played in, start 6 games, technically,
yeah.
I think. Yeah. So 6 games, maybe he played in 7. He put up 19 touchdowns. It was getting out of control, how good he was. And we're kind of wondering how much of a fluke that was. Well, he comes back out. He finishes 4th overall. He only throws 26 touchdowns, but, he's turning into a better QB. And I think those numbers, those were not fake. He can reproduce those no problem. So I think, once again, he is very, very safe. And I think those top 4 is where I'm kind of like, if you're really going to invest in a quarterback, like you just don't want to deal with it, those are the top 4 where I feel really good about that I think not only are safe to get, but have the ability to be number 1.
Mm-hmm. Watson, though, as much as I think he's safe, he's at a spot where I think he goes too high. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe there's guys below that end up being overhyped a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll get to a few for sure.
So, Watson's my number 4. You're number 4. Who's your number 5?
Speaking of people that might get overhyped, I'm actually going Mayfield here.
Okay. Man.
And I know that a lot of people will say this is too high. A lot of Cleveland fans will not. I love it because he showed a lot of promise. He showed that he can be a quarterback at this level. And he is surrounded by not only good weapons, amazing weapons. Like just front to back. So I really love him. And he might finish at the lower end of the 10s. But I think his upside makes him worth taking at 5 compared to other guys we'll get to later on who exactly what they'll do. They'll be a good pick, but they're not gonna rival the guys that came above him. See, I think he can.
I think he can too. And this right here is where you have to decide: are you taking a risk? I mean, it's a risk, but
calculated risk. But yes, it is.
And this is the guy though that's going to be drafted higher than his rank. And this is where that's where I get okay. I like Baker Mayfield. I remember when I did our first ranks, like right after the season, I put him 10th at quarterback. It's like, oh geez, craziness before Odell, obviously. But this is where you start to people are going to reach for him, and it's like, do you want to be the guy? I don't want to be the one that does it, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I like Baker Mayfield a lot, and I really think he's going to be good. But I actually did not have him 5th. I dropped him to 7th.
So he's not too far.
No,
away.
He's not far off, but I put him at 7th, and no, I still really like him.
What are the? Is it easier to talk about your number 5 and say why he was ahead of him, or is it easier to say what you have against Mayfield?
I'll go my 5 and 6 here. Then we'll go to your 6 after this. So my 5 is Russell Wilson, and my 6 is Drew Brees. And it's just safety, 100%. These guys I know are going to perform. So Russell Wilson doesn't have Doug Baldwin, but he really didn't have Doug Baldwin last year. I think Tyler Lockett can be good. We don't know exactly what DK Metcalf is, but I don't even know if that 100% matters. Wilson, with his legs, is going to get you points. And so out of his 7 seasons in the NFL, he's finished outside of the top 10 once. He's finished 3rd twice, finished 1st once, and then been 8th, 9th, and 9th. So you know what you're getting. That's what you do know what you're getting, but this is where you have to say, okay, how do I just want to be safe and I want to get Russell Wilson? If I put him, I know he's going to be good. I know I'm going to get good production out of him. So that's why he's up there for me. And then same with Drew Brees. Drew Brees, the last time Drew Brees finished outside of the top 10 in fantasy scoring was 2003. We were juniors in high school. Or no, that would have been our senior year, actually, probably. Aging us a little bit. That would have been our senior year, fall of our senior year of high school, Jeff. The fall of our senior year in high school is the last time Drew Brees did not finish in the top 10.
And he only played 11 years, and it was his 3rd year in the league.
Yeah. That's the last
only
time.
2nd year starting.
Yeah. We were just young kids. And since then, he's gone 9th, 3rd, 5th, 1st, 2nd, 6th, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 6th, 6th, 3rd, 9th, 8th. He's just
it's
consistent.
Incredible. Yeah.
And Michael Thomas isn't going to let him slow down. He's going to be able to throw the ball. Kamara's not going to let him slow down. He's going to be really good again. He's very safe. And I feel very comfortable if I got Drew Brees. So that's why those two win ahead of Mayfield. It's just, I usually err on the side of caution and safety and, get that. I kind of usually do that. And that's why I'm going with those two out of them right now. So
I gotcha. And it is a very small difference because literally they are my 6th and 7th.
In which order? Wilson, then Brees?
Actually, I went Brees and then Wilson. The only reason I actually like Wilson a little more, but I reserve the right to move him up once I figure out who the heck he is throwing it to.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to. His weapons, I talked about before, Mayfield has just coming out of his ears or wherever. Wilson is it's going to be one of those years where if one more guy gets hurt, he's literally throwing it to the towel boy. Like, there's nothing that he can do about that. He finds a way to get it done. I still think he deserves to be in the top 10. But when Brees has Kamara and Thomas, it becomes very difficult for me to hype up like, he has Lockett. I mean, like,
I know what you mean.
And I feel like every year too, Wilson, not that he won't run at all, but I don't count on that production anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where my head's at between Brees and Wilson.
Yeah, and I get it. I just think I think they'll both be, they're going to be very similar. There's not going to be terrible. Huge difference. So I think they're going to be good. So we have, those are our top 7 then so far. So this is where I almost feel like, to me, I slightly drop right here again.
Actually, this would be another tier for
right?
sure.
This is kind of where I feel like I drop. So who did you put at 8 then when you drop slightly?
This is the one I really I struggle with because I don't trust it.
Okay.
He is up and down, up and down, up and down. Matt Ryan. Yeah, Matt Ryan.
And mine too. Okay. Yeah, so I knew that's exactly my 100% thoughts on this is I don't trust him.
No. And I get it. People will say, but he was third last year?
This is his last 6 seasons. He went, or 7 seasons, let's go. 7th, 15th, 7th, 19th, 2nd, 15th, 2nd. What the heck is this?
And it makes no sense. Julio Jones was not hurt in any of those years. Like, he didn't have any major. And so I keep wondering if it comes back to, I don't know. I actually don't know. But I do know this. Devontae Freeman is coming back, and he is a better running back than, Tevin Coleman. Whether he can stay healthy, maybe that is, maybe that will knock him down again. But either way, he is worth taking the risk on here, and as bipolar as he is with his fantasy numbers. So that's why he shows up here.
But that's why it's a good spot for him. If you get him at this level, I feel good because you could be getting a guy who's going to finish 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
And if he's worse than this, you're not really out anything. You're really not if you draft him because no one's going to overpay for Matt Ryan. No one likes Matt Ryan except Atlanta Falcons fans. That's about it, right? No one loves this pick on their fantasy team, but he's just 2 of the last 3 seasons, he's been great. And are you going to get that again? Maybe. I mean, I just can't. I don't trust it right now.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't make the if you overpay for him, you can hurt yourself. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
I feel better about it, though, because I feel like his weapons are better with Julio, but then Calvin Ridley in a 2nd year, and Austin Hooper's becoming more reliable. So I do like that, but we'll see.
I mean, like we said, literally, Wilson is the only person we've named on this list so far that doesn't have a top 10 wide receiver. I mean, so far, that is where we're at. And that's kind of what I was talking about, which is why it's so crazy, when you start talking about these guys in top 10 and what they're able to do.
Yeah, that's the only one so far is Wilson's the only one without a top 10 guy. And he has a top 20 guy, I think. Or Mahomes. But Mahomes has Kelsey, so it's a different story. He has a top
exactly,
guy.
Yeah.
So that's 8. Who would be number 9?
Number 9.
Is a struggle here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not in love with this pick, but he has been relatively consistent. He gives you upside still. I love the fact that he will be able to throw to his running back over 100 times. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go Cam Newton here. But
so did I.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he might be one of those that moves for me slightly. He's one of these guys that anywhere in the 9 to 12 range, I'm kind of good with. If he ends up on my team, I'm like, great. I feel relatively safe, but I'm still going to stream every once in a while.
Same thing as Matt Ryan. His last 6 seasons, 3rd, 17th, 1st, 18th, 2nd, and then 12th. I mean, he's had 3 top 3 seasons in his career. I mean, 4 top 3 seasons, 5 top 4 seasons, and then he's had a 12th and 17th and 18th. Yeah. A lot of it too depends on DJ Moore. Is DJ Moore a player? Like, I think he is. But then Cam's also, there's that lingering injury. He's not healthy yet. I think he will be, but he's not healthy yet. So at some point the running has to stop, doesn't it?
Well, that's my biggest fear. Because if you do look at his running, that was a big difference.
It slowed down. See, that's the difference in some of the years here. It was great in 2017 with 754 yards, and last year dropped to 488 and 4 touchdowns. they didn't need to do it as much when they have McCaffrey. So,
and also, I mean, at this point too, how much you really want to run, your quarterback into the ground. I know he's huge and big and physical and, a freak athlete. He's able to do that, and he has been incredibly productive early on in his career when he's rushed. It really hasn't gone down a whole lot. I mean, you can almost bank on 100 carries from your quarterback if you have Cam Newton. But, do you really want to do it around the goal line all the time? He's always going to be a threat. You'll always throw that out so the defense has to plan for it. But if I was them, at some point you want to scale back a little bit. That's always a little bit of my fear. And also that's why he's so up and down.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to run him as much being hurt like that. But it's hard to not do. They might even think that, but it does make it harder once it's actually in the season. You see what he can do.
I was going to say, we say that, but he had 101 carries in 14 games last year.
Yep.
It's a lot.
All right. Final one, number 10. What do you got?
Okay, for sure, I think this is one that we won't agree on.
We've had a lot of agreement here.
Yeah, we have.
Did not plan this. Again, like we say, we really haven't.
I'm a little bit out on a limb on this one. I'm assuming he is going to be back fully healthy. I'm going Carson Wentz. And I know that this might be the one that people are kind of like, if you don't remember a couple of years ago when he was just incredible, you watched him only last year, he was still hobbled. And I mean, how many games did he play last year? He only played 11. And I mean, he's just a very, very good quarterback. And I know, I like Alshon Jeffrey still. You still have Ertz. You have Goddard, who I believe is a very good young tight end. You have a plethora of running backs, which, they can still throw to. Aguilar. I mean, so I just really like this guy. I'm kind of going all in on him as far as he's going to be healthy. He's going to return to form. In 2017, when he played 13 games, only in his second season in the NFL, he was incredibly dominant. 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 3,300 yards passing before he blew out his knee. And then obviously they went on to win the Super Bowl without him. But I wouldn't sleep on him, and I would rather take a little bit of a leap of faith on him than some of the guys that come after.
I didn't put him here. He's on at 14 for me. It's just, I guess I got to see something more again. And it's not even like I think this is he's a great pick. That's why I wait on quarterback, though. I want to pick somebody like Carson Wentz because he could be one of the top guys and you spend nothing on him. So that's why I do love picking him here. He's behind a couple other guys for me right now. It's actually, when I'm looking at it, though, when it comes to it in the draft, I probably might pick him ahead of them because I think he has the upside. So I do like the pick, but I'll say I went with my number 10. I went with Jared Goff. I've never been the biggest Jared Goff fan, but I just think he has too many weapons.
I actually, that makes me happy because I feel like people are downgrading him for no real reason.
Yeah.
He hurt me real bad last year. He threw up that negative game that really screwed me over. But let's be honest, he finished 7th overall last year. He's going to get Cooper Kupp back. That team is going to be good, the offense. I really like that pick as well. I think he should be in that discussion of the top 10.
And I'm not even sure how great of a quarterback he is. He's a good quarterback. I don't know if he's great, but fantasy-wise, I mean, you're throwing the ball to, Cooks and Kupp and Woods, and you got the best running back in the NFL, in Todd Gurley. Yeah, I said that.
The number 2 fantasy football ranked.
Yeah. I think you're going to be good. You know what? As this list is over for our top 10, the people that, I'm just going back to Wentz for a second, the people that thought the Eagles should get rid of Wentz and keep Foles are the same kind of people that overreact to Todd Gurley. They're one and the same.
Yeah, I don't. The Foles thing, that's just. I think both of them are. I think both statements are foolish, personally, especially the Wentz one.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
I never understood that whole
where people
Foles is better than Wentz.
Foles is a very good backup, but I don't
ranks 26th for me this year.
How does anyone forget when he was actually a starter?
Yeah, he's not that great, but all right, that's our top 10. So if you want to check out the full ranks of mine, go to Instagram.com/fantasyfootballprofit, and you can yell at me like other people have yelled at me. So it's a fun time, and I'll take it. It's just preseason ranks, early, not even preseason ranks.
I do because you've done top 22, believe, right?
I have the full list.
What?
I'm all the way to 30.
My question, I just have one guy I really want to touch on because he was scorching hot last year before he got injured. Where did you put Garoppolo so far?
I should put him 15th.
Okay.
A little high. See, consensus-wise, Garoppolo is down at 21st. So I'm one of the higher ones on him at 15th. I kind of starting to buy in a little bit. I think he has a lot of weapons there. I don't know how great of weapons they are. Kittle's great. But he also has a lot of guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield. He has a million of them. They're all the same guy, I think, too. I don't know if they'll have McKinnon and Breida and Coleman. And then you have, Goodwin will be back. He could be pretty solid. I don't know. Pettis, Kittle, Deebo Samuel. Didn't they draft him?
Yeah, very interesting.
I'm missing the guys. I'm sure he has a lot of guys that could throw the ball to, or that could just be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Remember, they're a million receivers.
I know.
No, Kittle alone makes that better. So I'm buying into it a little bit. I think he's another one like a Wentz, Garoppolo. I like picking those guys later in the draft. And actually, we're gonna do a mock draft on our next episode. We'll see. Maybe I'll probably wait on quarterback. It's typically what I do. Maybe I'll end up with one of those guys.
Last question: how high will Kyler Murray skyrocket up the board?
He's 20th for me right now, so he's already in my top 20.
And currently, he is 16th on consensus.
Wow,
rankings.
I didn't even realize how high he was. I thought
he's
I was
already
actually
16th. I think that is going to be one of those where I'm
staying away.
I bang my head against the wall because I have a feeling he keeps going. Maybe not in the consensus, but I think you will see a guy reach for him.
Yeah, and they shouldn't.
Yeah, really reach for him.
I'm intrigued. I just don't know what that's going to be yet. I'm very intrigued,
and especially in quarterback play. There is no way.
But I want a Kyler Murray before I want like a Matt Stafford or Derek Carr by far right now.
I think you could. Yeah. I agree with you there.
I
think Kyler Murray, and he will go too high, but he would be a second QB just for that lottery ticket pick.
Yeah, that's one.
You're not going to be able to get him that late.
Yeah, I don't really usually advocate for getting a second quarterback, but this is the type of guy I would do that. Well, I'm not going to don't make your second quarterback. Kirk Cousins,
right? And this is
but make your second quarterback
Kyler Murray when you also drafted a lower guy too. So when you pick Phillip Rivers at the end of the draft and you're like laughing because you're like, all right, I have a borderline top 10 guy.
Yep.
Then you can pick up him and be like, if it works out, great. If not, I drop him.
Yep. All right.
Anyway,
I think that'll do it. We'll be back on our next episode with a little mock draft to see what we can come up with there, see how the draft feels. It's until we actually get into that. That's where you got to really feel. It's the middle rounds, man. That's where it's always first. We did the top 10 ranks. That's easy. First, second round's not too hard. It's gonna be that middle of the draft. See what it goes like. It's gonna be interesting. So we'll see you guys next time.